The Writings of Philosopher Prince Israel Zaar. Title: Human Emotions, Desires, and Anger. I now read, isn't the being the consequence of its emotions, desires, and anger or anguish if the human being fails to understand itself, or if such emotions, desires, and anger or anguish is left without proper checks, management, regulation, moderation, or control? Shouldn't it be wise and intelligently necessary that the human being shall be taught to be aware of itself, to have agency, autonomy, and control over its emotions, desires, and anger? EDA. The EDA effect. Life shall be loss or gain depending on how we understand and regulate our emotions, desires, and anger. The human being shall be conscious of its internalization and externalization. Humans struggle for agency, autonomy, and control over their internalization. Isn't consumption an internalized decision or choice? Aren't desires internalized for emotions and anger or anguish externalized, that rush to have something we don't need or consume something that our desire can't resist? Isn't positive desires and attaining those positive desires sometimes the seat of our comfort, satisfaction, happiness, of peace? Must negative, neutral, and positive desires, emotions, and anger be distinguishable, that one does not equal the other, or that one isn't the substitute of the other, but distinguished in themselves? Humans die from their emotions, desires, and anger, and humans are saved or enriched by their emotions, desires, and righteous indignation, anger, RIA, all depending on the positivity, neutrality, or negativity of such emotions, desires, anger, or anguish. Human addictions lie in unmanaged desires and uncontrolled emotions. Human projections, perceptions, and perspectives are sometimes not driven by intelligence or reason, of which it should, but by their emotions or feelings or sentiments. Without acting in intelligence, understanding, wisdom, and humanity, things go wrong easily. Humans die by the negativity of their anger in disagreements, quarrels, fights, conflicts, or wars. But if the being understands itself, of which it should, that it's different from others and everything else, that its mind and thoughts are intrinsic to itself, that it can listen and learn from others or admits its mistakes and wrongdoing, then humans can learn to live with one another in disagreements, or learn to tolerate one another, knowing there are no two identical human beings with identical minds, identical thoughts, or identical DNA. Aren't humans who they are, different from one another with relative or subjective similarities? Isn't the act of being different and knowing and accepting that you are naturally, psychologically, and spiritually different from one another would enable humans to want to share their distinctive creative intrinsicality, DCI, with others? Can it be said that the more the human being is removed or stripped of its authentic originality self, AOS, the more challenging it becomes for the human being to know and cope with its true self or properly manage its emotions, desires, anger, or anguish? Know thyself, for thou art thyself. Isn't the lack of complete knowledge of the understanding of who or what or why humans are who and what they truly are, the misunderstanding sometimes thinking that humans can be grouped into categories, assuming that humans think and act alike or the same? Isn't such erroneous or forced categorizations or stratifications of the human being, or strip of the being from its intrinsicality, can sometimes be seen as coercive, oppressive extent identical, COEI, added on the intrinsic individuality identity, III, of the being, sometimes to strengthen, weakens, dilute, enhance, or sometimes delete, to replace the authentic originality of being, AOB, with something else that can be easily malleable manipulated, directed, educated, regulated, instructed, managed, and controlled or given a group mentalization purpose identity, GMPI, in the name of division of competence or racial gender hierarchy engineering, RGHE, can it be said that categorization or stratifications of humans or stripping humans from the biological, mental, and spiritual trueness of themselves is sometimes the contributing factor to most of humanity's problems, crises, cruelties, conflicts, and wars? The misunderstanding or miseducation that humans of a particular family, home, tribe, group, gender, race, nationality, or any other imposed, categorized specifications or stratifications should think alike for such artificially imposed categorization, AIC, is always grossly untrue, unrealistic, and unscientifically proven, or sometimes just inhumane, unjust, unfair, and wrong. This is philosophical, not empirical, the wisdom of Zaarrianism. Philosopher Prince Israel Zaar, April 23, 2026. The background video is Trianglerism, immersive, inventive art. Hope you enjoy listening. Leave a comment and subscribe.